Indy 500 coverage is brought to you by the members of the DL 500 Club. Click the link in the description, join today, and get exclusive content.
All is right with the world. We actually ran on the Indianapolis Oval in the month of May with Indy cars for more than 30 minutes today. It was a very long day. It started with a bullpen with many of the IndyCar drivers, many of whom you'll hear from later on in this video. In fact, we got an extended interview with Agustin Canapino, which I think is really interesting in this video. You might have already seen the Kyle Larson interview, part of the bullpen that I uploaded separately. It was a long amount of rain delays today throughout this day, so I figured to give you guys a little bit of content throughout the day. That was a good one to upload. Obviously, from the view count, it makes a lot of sense. Kyle Larson, a very impressive driver, not only on the track, but also in the interview room. But yeah, I think we've got some great interviews as well today. I'll talk about some of my thoughts and impressions from the on-track running today. I've got some early favorites in at least kind of metastasizing in the back of my head. I hope that's the only thing metastasizing in the back of my head. And finally, we've got a segment on NASCAR drivers racing at the Indianapolis 500. Of course, Kyle Larson going to NASCAR first and then coming here is not a unique thing. There are many, many drivers over the course of history who have done that. And we've got a really good history segment talking about those. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the speeds from today. And it was once again another very fast day at the Speedway, and it's another fast Kiwi that's on the top of the boards. And at over 229 miles an hour, it's Scott McLaughlin in the Pennzoil Special P1. Second is Will Power for Team Penske. Colton Herta, P3. He looked really good in traffic today. Defending champion Joseph Newgarden in fourth. 3 Penskes in the top 4. We haven't seen that in a practice session in a very long time here. Looks like Penske is beginning to figure it out here at the Speedway once again. Alexander Rossi in P5. We talked to him earlier today. You'll hear from him later. Kyle Kirkwood in P6 for Andretti Global. I think I told you guys that those 2 cars, Colton Herta and Kyle Kirkwood, would be fast. And indeed they are. Pato O'Ward still looking for his first Indy 500 in P number 7. Alex Palou looked good in traffic, was fast. I think he's going to be a contender for victory. You'll hear from him as well. Ryan Hunter-Reay in P9 for Brian Reinbold Racing, proving once again that team is very quick at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Elio Castroneves in the drive for 5 rounds out the top 10. Just behind him is Scott Dixon, who was at the top of the charts yesterday at 229 miles an hour. Today, it's a much slower 226 mile per hour run, but Dixon did a lot of traffic running today. Graham Rahal at 225 miles an hour in P12. Good to see the Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan cars up there. Felix Rosenquist in P13. Rinus VK, who was at the top of the no-tow charts, or near the top of the no-tow charts. He was second on that list in P14, 225 with a tow. Kyle Larson behind Rinus at 225.2. Marcus Ericsson at 225.2. Takuma Sato was actually the top of the no-tow charts today at 221 miles an hour. His tow lap was at 225. You can see the 4 mile an hour difference there. Romain Grosjean in 18th spot for Juncos Hollinger Racing. Connor Daly did a lot of traffic running throughout the day, as did Linus Lundqvist in 20th. Callum Ilott for Arrow McLaren got some laps today at 224. Marco Andretti had to make some adjustments to his car throughout the day. Got a little bit of traffic running in, but not as much running, I think, as Marco would have wanted to do. Marcus Armstrong practicing for his first ever oval race in 23rd. Pietro Fittipaldi, another Rahal car. We'll kind of keep track of those. Of course, the bump day heroes of last year, or maybe zeros in the case of Graham Rahal, unfortunately. 25th for Ed Carpenter, 26th for Christian Rasmussen. I wouldn't be concerned too much about that. The Ed Carpenter cars always show up in qualifying, so we'll see, I'm sure, those cars up near the front. Rasmussen definitely made some questionable moves out there. I know Colton Herta wasn't too happy with him at the end of practice. Christian Lundgaard, the 2 Danes, named Christian back-to-back in 26th and 27th. Tom Blomqvist, who you'll hear from later on in this video, in P28. 29th was Kiffin Simpson. 30th was Stingray Robb for AJ Foyt. Catherine Legg in 31st for Dale Coyne Racing. Nolan Siegel in 32nd. for the same team, Santino Ferrucci for AJ Foyt Racing. So I guess we'll start questioning what's going on with AJ Foyt Racing with two cars in the 30s. And of course, we always say this, if we were qualifying today and the times that were on the board counted, Agustin Canapino would be bumped from the field. However, he was third quickest on the no-toe charts, so that is a bit deceptive. And it's appropriate that I mention Agustin Canapino, 34th on the board, and I think after this interview he might be first in your heart. You've got a new name on your car, the Titan. What does that mean? Explain that.
It's my nickname in Argentina.
Okay.
The fans call me Titan. Do my trajectory, my races, my seasons there. So it's my nickname in Argentina.
Well, it's your nickname here now, too. Congratulations. So, second Indianapolis 500. Obviously, this isn't the way anybody wants the 500 to go with all this rain. But you did get out on the racetrack a little bit yesterday. What was the feeling in the car?
Living here, in the second year living here, I am very surprised about the weather in Indiana. Oh, my God. The weather is not the best thing in Indiana. So, it's very impressive. I need go to the track, honestly. I need to go to the track. I need only 7 laps between 3 days in open test. So, of course, 7 laps here is nothing. So I need to run. I need to practice. I need to know the car. We need to know the new tires for this year. I have not experienced. The team is small and new too. So for us, it's very important the practice. So hopefully today will be the first day to run with time to practice.
You were able to run most of the race last year. Obviously, you ended up kind of getting caught up in that crash at the end of the race. But throughout your first Indianapolis 500, what did you learn throughout the race that you didn't know starting just from practicing?
I learned a lot about how the race is so completely different. So you can practice whatever you want, but the race day is the race day, and the race condition is different. So I think this is the reason the most experienced guy has a big advantage on that, because the race, you can practice every day, but the moment of the race is different. So the dirty air, the track, the tires, the ambient, the people, the crowd, so everything is different.
I guess I'll ask you one more, and then I'll let Austin go ahead. You said you didn't like the weather so much in Indiana. What are some things you do like about Indiana?
I like the life here in America. It's nice. So I am enjoying the situation to live here in the United States. So I only miss the food. I don't like the Argentinian food and the weather.
What kind of food do you miss?
The Argentinian food. Honestly, the Argentinian food is really nice. Maybe it's the only thing we have better than the other countries, but the food in Argentina is really nice.
You have to bring some next time. Come on.
Okay. I'm going to do some Argentinian barbecue for everybody.
So we got to talk to several other drivers from many of the key teams participating in this year's Indianapolis 500, including Alex Palou, IndyCar champion, former winner Scott Dixon, and Alexander Rossi. It's pretty good stuff.
We've only really missed part of yesterday, so we'll have to see what the rest of the week does. There's potential, but I think everybody's run here long enough, and nothing's changed with the car for 15 years. So I think everybody should be okay.
Yesterday I rewatched because of the rain. I rewatched all the race and looking at the interviews from people that crashed, like Felix, Kirkwood, Pato, and everybody that finished in the top 10. Everybody thought that they had the best car. So I think we all think that we have the best car, and for sure there's only one that it's the best. So I know that I had really good cars enough to win, and I think that we will have obviously a really good car this year again. So the thing is people catching up, is people like doing a bigger step than us, but I'm confident. I think we've been doing good things here, obviously improving in qualifying, getting the pole, leading a lot more last year, and just feeling comfortable on traffic again. But hey, it might take, I don't know, only 2 weeks to win it, or it might take 20 years, or maybe never. So we'll keep on knocking that door.
You know, you say everybody had the best car, but yours was the fastest last year.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well, objectively, a new pole record. There's a lot of talk. There's some talk anyway about how fast the speeds are going to be with a little less weight in the car, a bit of a harder tire, hopefully a little more consistent over the qualifying run. What's kind of your estimation of what the pole speed's going to be?
I don't know much. Like, it's not that we have a lot of info. We have simulations, but they don't really relate a lot here in this place. But I would say they are going to be faster. Not only because of the change on the weight on the cars, that makes a difference, but I would say every year we come here, Honda and Chevy, they do a small step. They get a little bit more. I don't know from where, but I think they just look around and find a little bit more speed. And the teams, they do the same with the cars. Like, these cars been out for I don't know how many years.
Yes. Dixon said 15. I'll trust
15, yeah. So it's like already a car that everybody knows, and every team, they keep on improving the balance and the fitting, and they make the cars faster. So I don't know how much faster, but I would put money that it's going to be a faster qualifying than last year.
The team is kind of split up into two programs where you got the 3 rookies and then the 2 other extremely fast drivers, and it's been kind of nice because that means as well that us rookies, we don't have to take on any responsibilities, say, for developing the car or anything like that. Obviously, you got your 2 kind of main guys to kind of focus on just performance in the beginning, whilst we kind of get up to speed and we don't need to rush anything. And if we have a question or we need to look at something, you just pop over and look at the other guy's data or computer, whatever it might be. And as a rookie, it's a very comfortable thing to have. But at the same time, it means that every time you're on track, you're comparing yourself against the best, which is what you want. But it's also kind of rough when you think you've put together a good lap or a good stint, whatever it might be. And you look over at those guys' data and you're just like, oh, okay, never mind. I still had a lot to learn.
I've been asking a lot of questions for the past couple of months about this race. I'd say Dario is the one who's very good at describing his experiences and sort of talking in the same language as me. I mean, him and I, we've vibed from the very beginning, so he's helped me a lot. And saying that, I feel like there's a point where you need to stop asking questions and just drive the car, because ultimately it is a race car and it's a track. So just got to get it round as fast as possible if you really want to keep it really simple.
Historically, I think you don't want to be the best car. I mean, I don't think Joseph was the best car last year. I don't think Elio was the best car in 20. Was it 20? 21? 21. I certainly wasn't the best car in 16. There isn't an answer to that. Like, this place, it's cliche, but it does choose the winner. You can have the best month of the year going, best month of your life, and you could not win, and you can have an average one going and it fall into your lap. It's hard to say.
And of course, it wouldn't be one of these Indy 500 videos without talking about history. And the history of NASCAR participation here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is rich as has ever been. And of course, Kyle Larson continues to add to that legacy. It was really fun, and I actually learned a few things as Kyle was doing the research for this video. Is really, really good stuff. I think you'll enjoy it, especially if you're a fan of the NASCAR Cup Series.
Many notable NASCAR drivers prior to Kyle Larson have attempted to race in the Indianapolis 500. The first notable driver was Bobby Johns, who made 141 starts in NASCAR from 1956 to 1969 and qualified twice in 1965 and 1969. The 65 start was notable to NASCAR fans not just because Johns was paired at Team Lotus with eventual race winner Jim Clark, but that the Wood brothers, also of NASCAR fame, served as the pit crew. More Hall of Fame talent that made the trip north were the brothers Allison, Bobby and Donnie, who each competed twice in the 500. Donnie Allison proved a natural talent in open-wheel cars, winning Rookie of the Year honors with a 4th-place finish in 1970 and backing it up with a 6th in 1971. With that performance, Allison could technically be considered the first driver to complete the double, flying to Charlotte for the World 600 the next day, where he would finish second to brother Bobby. Donnie was back on a plane that evening and managed to make a personal appearance at the Indy 500 victory banquet. Bobby Allison got the call from Roger Penske just a few years later, in 1973, and made his first start in a McLaren in the Indy 500. finishing 32nd. Allison would go on to make 5 more IndyCar starts for the captain in 1975, including a 25th place finish at the Indy 500. Cale Yarborough made 4 starts in Indianapolis between 1966 and 1972, with his last start being his best, scoring a 10th place finish. Leroy Yarborough, no relation to Cale, made 7 appearances at the Speedway, but only qualified 3 times and never finished. He nearly drove one of the famous STP wedge turbines in 1968, but was replaced last minute by Art Pollard. Yarborough's last IndyCar appearance was his best, scoring a 3rd at Trenton Speedway, driving for Dan Gurney. The name that you probably didn't know attempted to qualify for the 500 was Ken Schrader, whose lone appearance in 1983 was unfortunately dashed when he crashed on the second day of practice, destroying the team's only car and calling it quits soon after. After a successful career in NASCAR, Schrader called that crash the best wreck he ever had. Neil Bonnet was briefly Roger McCluskey's teammate at Indianapolis in 1979. With his NASCAR career momentarily stumbled, he signed on in the spring to drive a turbocharged AMC-powered car for Warner W. Hodgson. Bonnet unexpectedly found an opportunity to drive for the Wood brothers in NASCAR at Dover. Bonnet planned to qualify for both races, but when rain delayed Dover qualifying, Bonnet had to vacate his Indy 500 ride, which was then qualified by Jerry Sneva, but only completed 16 laps after a piston burned on the AMC power plant and sidelined Sneva for the rest of the day. After a long drought of NASCAR drivers without an open-wheel background crossing over to challenge the Indianapolis 500, Kurt Busch stepped into an Andretti Autosport Dallara and attempted the double in 2014, finishing an impressive 6th in the Indy 500 and securing the Rookie of the Year honors. Jimmy Johnson achieved his lifelong dream of being an IndyCar driver in 2021 after retiring from competing full-time in NASCAR in 2020. After spending a season in IndyCar only running the road and street courses, Jimmy decided to go full-time with Chip Ganassi Racing in 2022, and that of course included an attempt at the Indy 500. Jimmy's run at IndyCar was impressive throughout the month as he qualified 12th but struggled in the race, crashing near the end and finishing 28th. Plans for Jimmy to make a second Indy attempt last year fell through due to a lack of availability of Honda engines, and his new contract with Toyota makes any Indy appearances in the future very unlikely. Kyle Larson continues a long and rich tradition of drivers who made their names in stock cars that are willing to challenge the Brickyard.
And so wrapping up today's video, I have a few thoughts. Certainly a lot of traffic running today. It was interesting to hear Takuma Sato in the post-practice press conference say that he was focusing a lot on single car runs. I think that's something that Ray Hall absolutely needs to get right this year, is running by themselves. Do they have the speed? Can they be competitive? I'm surprised to see AJ Foyt down near the bottom of the time charts. You don't want to say anyone's sandbagging, because we haven't really seen that much since Ganassi kind of did a little bit, I think, in 2022. No one has that kind of an advantage, I believe, right now, unless AJ's really, the Foyt team's really holding back a lot. So my thought process is that maybe there is a storyline there with AJ Foyt Racing. I guess we'll have to see how Thursday plays out. Friday looks like it might be a washout. So Thursday might be really the last day before qualifying that we get to see these cars run in anger on the racetrack. So that's concerning. Dale Coyne Racing being down towards the bottom of the charts should be concerning for them. I think they were one of the bump day potentialities last year. As well as, while Juncos is down there, I don't really think they're legitimately down there. I don't know if the Ray Hall team's going to be down there or not. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Bump day right now up in the air with only one day of running. Some of the cars that really impressed me today, Scott McLaughlin, obviously, he was fast today, but I've been impressed with his program. I said as much in our interview yesterday that they're really focusing on doing business here, really. I think that Scott McLaughlin knows that he has not performed very well in the month of May here, and he's not performed at the Indianapolis 500, and that he needs to do that racing for Roger Penske. And so, you look at their program and how hard they've hit the ground and how quickly they've gotten up to speed and how, kind of earnestly they've jumped out into the racetrack. They were the first car on track today. I'm impressed with Scott McLaughlin. A couple of other cars I mentioned that looked fast. Colton Hurd is one of them. Scott Dixon's another. Alex Palou. And Helio Castroneves I'm going to throw in there as well with a new chassis. His chassis is actually being driven by Tom Blomqvist in this year's Indianapolis 500 from 2021. So Helio Castroneves kind of has the same formula that he did last year. Looks pretty strong, I would say, in traffic. But again, after less than a day of running, it's hard to totally guess what's going to happen. I think Thursday, which is a bit more of an extended day, practice starts at 10 and ends at 6 local time. So we get a little bit of running tomorrow. It should be clean and dry throughout the day. Might be one of the most busy days we've ever seen at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in terms of running. Should be very exciting. I can't wait to cover it for you. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know I've enjoyed making it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.